Yo, what is up, YouTube? It is your boy, Great Zage, and I am here for What If Naruto Had the Powers? What if Naruto had Katakuri's powers? I think it's part 5. Yeah, part 5. So, guys, I'm not gonna lie, this series has been blowing up. I have no idea why. I don't think anyone has done this series. I don't know. I don't really think so. Well, anyway, I'm really glad that you guys are enjoying my series, and I really hope that you guys will continue on to support me, and pretty much, yeah. But I hope you guys do enjoy the series. You guys are awesome. Y'all lit. And pretty much, enough of me yapping about this stuff. Let's get started with this What If. Let's go.
She gripping that dick like she was a lost star. She party at night like she was a rock star. She singing my song like Bella-dee-da. She calling me daddy but not a father. Lil' Billy been thirsty like big as some water. Could give you the world with the wave of a wand. We fairly odd bitch Cosmo and Wanda.
Alright, guys, let's begin the long-awaited What If. So we begin with Team 7, as it was now the beginning of the Force of Death. Now, Team 7 would have gotten their scrolls, and they were now currently jumping from tree to tree. Now, Naruto knew the Force of Death like the back of his hand, so he was already jumping and leading Team 7 to the direction. Now, at this point, Sakura was now getting tired, considering the fact that she was, the one with the less stamina in Team 7, so they had to take a breather. Man, I think we got far enough, she would say. At this, both of them, Sasuke and Naruto, would just nod, as Naruto would just be there, laying on a tree, just, concentrating. He'll be going ahead and extending his senses, trying to find anyone who was trying to sneak up on them, until suddenly all his senses began to alarm him of a presence. Naruto would think. And suddenly, 3 random sound ninja would then appear. Well, look what we have here. At this, all of the members of Team 7 would look up. Naruto would still be sitting down in a cross position, and Sasuke would have just been sitting up as he goes ahead and yells, "And who are you?" At this, the sound ninja would then chuckle. You won't be alive just to find out. At this, Naruto just inside his mind would just roll his eyes, thinking, "Wow, trying to act badass." On the outside, he didn't make any reaction at all. Alright. At this, the sound ninja would go ahead and throw a kunai, as he saw that Naruto was not paying attention to him, so he throws a kunai. Naruto would go ahead and lean his head backward a little bit, dodging it without even opening his eyes. At this was already an indicator that a fight had begun, as Sasuke would then rush off to take care of them. Now, Naruto could easily, with his Conqueror's Haki, could easily wipe them out, considering the fact they're strong enough to literally make a bunch of Genins in an exam room to pass out, and these guys were no big deal. In fact, they were one of the people that passed out for sure. But he can't really he had to think of this logically. Sasuke had already begun the fight, so he can't really interfere in Sasuke's fight. Also, he needs to sort of fix that superiority complex. If he ends up doing everything now, Sasuke's superiority complex, it will begin to skyrocket even further. In fact, it may change it from being a flight risk to an actual risk. So Naruto had to be careful with Sasuke. Sasuke would go ahead and begin fighting the ninjas. Sakura cheers for Sasuke as he goes ahead and begins going into taijutsu battle. Now at this, the men were actually getting an upper hand as he goes ahead and slashes down at Sasuke using a kunai as he begins to actually whirl around. However, Sasuke, using his, one Tomoe Sharingan in each eye, would dodge them pretty swiftly as he goes ahead and kicks one of them off the branch and slamming him down with a kick, causing a crater to form. A miniature one, of course. As the man would have been knocked out unconscious, Sasuke would smile at this until he looks up only to see the 2 other members on him. Now, Sasuke had a good idea. He will go ahead and pretend to fall off, as he pretends that he actually slipped, as the man would then laugh. "Fool," he would say. As Sasuke would go ahead and, begin to fall. However, using chakra, he would go ahead and stick to the branch as he blitzed through hand signs. Fire style, fireball jutsu, he would say, as he shoots a ginormous fireball at the two men, burning them to cinders, as Sasuke would then smile. He thinks. As the scroll would go ahead and fall into his hands, he would then fall off the branch, of course by will, of course, as he would go ahead and stick the landing. At this, Sakura would then say, "Way to go, Sasuke," she would say. Oh wait, sorry, my bad. Sasuke-kun, because you know Sakura. So at this, Sasuke would then send a smirk to Naruto. However, Naruto doesn't react to one bit and just gets up. This in turn causes Sasuke to grit his teeth, as Naruto right now thinking in his mind, so wait, he wants to feel superior to me? Why doesn't he just leave me alone? I swear, I don't understand this guy. So Naruto begins to, Sasuke realized that they actually had the scroll that they needed, actually completing the exams already, which makes him smile. So with that, Team 7 were now allowed to move again, as they were now well rested. Well, Sakura and Sasuke. Naruto was already good enough to go from the beginning. So with that, they go ahead and continue jumping. Now, as they continue jumping right now, Naruto would begin to pick up on a presence. Naruto would think. As suddenly, observation Haki would then kick in, revealing the large burst of wind and a snake. Great, Naruto would think. As he would then stop jumping, both Sasuke and Sakura would do so as well. What's wrong? Are you tired? At this, Naruto goes ahead and looks at them. As suddenly, he'll go ahead and then just shove them out of the way, shocking both of them. As a ginormous snake, a bunch of wind would slam into Naruto, and a ginormous snake would have made his way, getting Naruto to be pushed back. At this, Sasuke and Sakura's eyes would widen as they just lost Naruto, as they couldn't believe it. No, Naruto! However, suddenly, they would then see a lady. They would actually then see, Naruto once again appear. I'm fine, guys, the person would say. However, Sasuke already knew who it was, as he goes ahead and takes out a kunai and throws it. At this, the person would go ahead and dodge, actually surprised by it as he goes ahead and looks. How did you know? Said the person. For first of all, Naruto does barely even talk to us at all. 2, even if he were to come back fine, which I'm pretty sure he is, he will probably just go ahead and not even talk to us, not even batting an eye. Second of all, he doesn't even look like that. As right now, the person was wearing a orange jumpsuit, similar to what Naruto had at the when he was during the time of the academy, and also practically just looked like an older version, like the Naruto that we know. At this, the person would then chuckle. Well, I see young Naruto-kun had changed, and I can see that you guys already knew about it. At this, the man's face would then begin to morph, as they would then see a woman. However, this woman was creepy, actually giving the feeling of a snake. Sasuke and Sakura had no idea what they had just encountered. Now, on the other side of the forest, Naruto, having not even a scratch on his body, would have gone ahead and just been fine. The only thing that he allowed the wind to take him away, considering the fact that would just get the snake away from his two teammates. Naruto would think. As he goes ahead and sees the snake rushing over, ready to bite down on him, but Naruto in an instant would activate his Conqueror's Haki. It will loom over the area, as the snake would just stop only a couple of feet away from Naruto, as it actually bent its head down, almost as if it was obeying its master. At this, Naruto would have let go of the Conqueror's Haki, now seeing that the thing was now put in its place. Naruto would think. Naruto will go ahead and actually pet it on its head, causing the thing to go ahead and just, accept it, as it knows that if it tries anything, it will die. It didn't matter what, it will die. Run along, Naruto would say, in a serious tone. The snake would do so, as it, actually leaves the area, going off to find more teams. He already knew that Orochimaru did it, but he didn't really care. I mean, actually, no, he doesn't know it was Orochimaru. He does know, however, that the snake, that someone sent the snake towards him. Better go check on Sasuke and Sakura, thought Naruto. As he goes ahead and begins to jump from tree to tree, as he goes to find Sasuke and Sakura. Speaking of the two, they were not looking so hot right now. Sasuke sweating, trying to his best as he was holding Sakura's, trying to hold Sakura down as she was, in fear. He didn't want her to talk or anything, because as soon as she even said a word, they were both dead. 1 minute, everything seemed fine. In fact, the girl didn't seem that tough. But all it changed. Flashback. Sasuke was just there with Sakura. As he goes ahead and pulls out a couple of kunai, as he would then say, well, too bad then. He will go ahead and rush up at the person ready to attack him. However, suddenly an aura would then fill him. Sasuke and Sakura would then be accustomed to a large amount of bloodlust that was directed directly towards them. Sasuke would actually fall down to one knee. This bloodlust, it can't. It's way different than Zabuza's, he thought. He was shaking, seeing images over and over of his death. Sakura, and now she couldn't even move. As the woman began to take steps towards them, 2 kunais in hand. Sasuke began to hyperventilate. This is it. I'm gonna die. She's gonna kill me, he thought. No, move, Sasuke, move, he would say, trying to move. His hand began to twitch as he goes to his kunai pouch, as he takes out a kunai. As when he does, Orochimaru, who had caught a glimpse of it, chuckles as he goes ahead and throws the kunai. Now, at this, Sasuke felt like time was stopping. Move, Sasuke. Move. Move! I said move! He would say. And suddenly, he would stab himself in the leg with the kunai, picking up Sakura and jumping away. As Orochimaru, or the random grassman would then chuckle. He went ahead and injured himself to get rid of the bloodlust. Very, very clever, Sasuke, he would say with a smile on his face as he thinks of his little prey. Now with Sasuke, he was now currently in hiding as he was trying his very best to try to calm down. However, sadly for both of them, it was too late. Found you, said a voice. They both look up to see Orochimaru then dangling, rushing down at them as Sakura actually begins to literally have tears in her eyes, tears beginning to shed as she couldn't believe it. She was gonna die now. No, said Sasuke as he goes ahead, runs with Sakura as they continue trying to get away. Eventually, however, Orochimaru was able to appear between them, separating both of them as he punches Sasuke away, sending him flying. That hurt, Sasuke thought, as he goes ahead and looks, only to see Orochimaru jumping at him. No, stay away, he would say, throwing a bunch of kunais. However, sadly, that didn't do anything as Orochimaru would just dodge it. Sasuke, is this all you have for a new Uchiha? Sasuke was now sweating. He was gonna die. No, there's one way he could survive this. Sasuke would go ahead, reach into his pouch, and take out take out the scroll. Look, if I give you the scroll, you will let us live, he would say. At this, Orochimaru would then chuckle. Well, Sasuke, go ahead. At this, Sasuke would just gulp, not really wanting to, piss off the person, as he goes ahead and then throws the scroll. Now, Orochimaru would then chuckle, already reaching to catch it. However, in an instant, the scroll would then vanish. I leave you guys alone, and this is what I come home to. At this, both of them would then turn to see Naruto, as he was now holding the scroll in his hand. You idiot, Sasuke would say. Give him the scroll. We can live. We can go ahead and find another one. However, Naruto then turned to Sasuke as he then says, leave. Sasuke, then feeling Naruto's bloodlust, would engulf as he goes ahead and shuts up. He goes ahead and joins in with Sakura as he, was keeping a fair distance away. Sasuke, go take Sakura and leave. Sasuke was about to protest, however, Naruto gave him a stern look that just said, leave. Sasuke, however, was, scared, so he decided to go ahead and do as he's told, picking up Sakura and leaving at a fair distance. However, that didn't mean he was not going to stick by and watch, as he goes only a couple of distance away, still pretty far distance, but still was able to watch the fight. Sakura inside her mind was running a mile, like her mind was just running like a mile a second. Until finally she felt at ease. Sakura, although she didn't want to admit it, was so happy that Naruto had appeared. Naruto was definitely the strongest member of Team 7. She hated to admit it, but now, what was more important? Her pride or her life? And right now, it was her life. And she did not want to die. So when she saw Sasuke get beaten, she was right now thinking that maybe, just maybe, this was it. This was how she was going to die now. However, luckily, Naruto had came by and saved them both. And she knew that one thing. Naruto was very strong. Stronger than them. Heck, she even had times to compare Naruto to Kakashi. And so she definitely knew for sure they were going to be safe. Even though she hated to admit it. So, now with Naruto. The young Uzumaki was now facing up against Orochimaru. And is now seeing that his teammates are a fair distance away, goes ahead and turns to him. "I know who you are," Naruto would say. At this, the person would then chuckle. "Oh, really?" Naruto would nod, as he already goes ahead and already knows that his observation haki was kicking in. He goes ahead and dodges an attack made by the snake from behind, as he goes ahead and looks at him. Only one person in said history of the Shinobi world has been able to fight like this. At this, Orochimaru chuckles. "So you do know?" Naruto nods, as he then speaks. "Orochimaru of the Sani," he would then say. At this, Orochimaru would then chuckle. "Ah, very good, Naruto-kun," he would then say. As now the face of Orochimaru began to morph, revealing his, true face. Getting out of the grasslands, which was horrifying. Now, a fair distance away, Sasuke and Sakura's eyes widened. That was Orochimaru? Both of them thought. As now Sakura was once again panting. She knew that Naruto was strong. Heck, she knew that he was the strongest member. But to him to go up against Orochimaru? No way. There's no way he can. Naruto was just, looking at Orochimaru, as he then says, "Well, since you're considered a risk, I have no choice but to neutralize you," he would say. Naruto would take out the spear from his back, as Orochimaru would then chuckle. "You really believe so, Naruto-kun?" he would then say. As Naruto, he wasn't 100% sure, but he knew one thing for sure. Currently, right now, he was at a disadvantage. Sure, this was his home, this was the Forest of Death, but right now, this was the only part of the Forest of Death where he literally, he's not really at a disadvantage, more like he can't really go all out. Now, the only way for him to go truly all out is once they hit the ground, and that's where he planned to lead the snake. At this, Naruto would go ahead and begin his fight with Orochimaru as he dashes off at speed, shocking Orochimaru as he appears right in front of him. "What?" thought Orochimaru. As Naruto goes ahead and lands a punch on the snake, sending him flying. Orochimaru, however, would instantly regain his balance. He then says, You're fast, Naruto-kun," he would then say. However, Naruto didn't care, as he rushes off again, as Orochimaru begins to engage in taijutsu with Naruto. Now, Naruto was doing fairly good. Even Orochimaru had to admit, this kid was impressive, to say the least. And the kid was very strong, especially for his age. Naruto continued going ahead, fighting Orochimaru, until finally, he goes ahead and kicks Orochimaru on the chin, setting him flying up in the air. Naruto wouldn't think now. As he goes ahead and turns his foot, sends a kick, changing his foot into Mochi, as Orochimaru's eyes were widening, seeing it. What? As suddenly he would then be slapped against a tree, as Naruto would have used his Mochi kick or something. He would go ahead and now would have trapped Orochimaru in his Mochi. What is this stuff? Orochimaru would think. He tries to pry out of it, but if anything, he continues getting more stuck, as Naruto had efficiently trapped Orochimaru there. Naruto would think, as he goes ahead and brings Orochimaru closer to him, as the foot begins to retract itself back, Orochimaru with it. Now, by the time it retracts back, Naruto had to have Orochimaru underneath his foot, as he slams Orochimaru into the ground, using his foot, of course. Now, at this, the branch would then snap, destroying itself, and they both would then slam into the ground. Orochimaru was still underneath Naruto's foot. What? Thought Orochimaru, as he couldn't believe it. He goes ahead and slithers out of there, using a hole, of course, as Naruto goes ahead and looks at it. Sorry, but your fate is sealed, thought Naruto. At this, Orochimaru would then slither out, of course appearing once again, as he then says, Naruto-kun, what did you just do, he would say. At this, Naruto would then turn to him, as he then says, that is not your information, but you could go ahead and already consider this over. At this, Naruto would go ahead and then touch the ground. Orochimaru was confused by the action until finally he would then see it in all its glory as the ground would then transform. Now, all the way in a far distance away, Sasuke and Sakura were both wide-eyed that Naruto was able to go ahead and keep up with the legendary Sannin, especially Orochimaru of all people. How are you so strong? Thought Sasuke. Sakura was just in awe of Naruto's power. As they saw that Naruto went ahead and brought them underneath the ground, both of them actually came back to the spot where Naruto told them to run away, but still. They would go ahead and come back, only to look up from the trees to see that Naruto had brought Orochimaru down. And they saw that Naruto went ahead and put his hand on the ground and was now doing something. What is he doing? Said Sasuke. Sakura had the same question in mind until both of their eyes widened what was just occurring. Naruto now was smirking underneath in his mind, of course, as he went ahead and transformed the entire floor into mochi. What is this? Thought Orochimaru. Flowing mochi, he would then say. As now the entire ground was made out of mochi, or at least in their area the entire ground was made out of mochi. Orochimaru would look at this and had no idea what to even think. What did he do? However, Naruto, now seeing that Orochimaru was now, sort of in shock, he would go ahead and use this opportunity and says, Mochi Gatling, he would then say. As suddenly, arms of mochi would then appear out of Naruto's back, shocking Orochimaru, as he would then see barrages of these fists that were coated in haki begin to barrage him and rush towards him. He would then think, is this a Genkai? I must have it. At this, Orochimaru began to slither away, dodging all the attacks. However, more and more mochi fists began to join in, as Orochimaru can't dodge them all. How? Thought Orochimaru, as he begins to get bombarded with hits and all over. Sasuke and Sakura, eyes widened. They'd never seen a technique like it. How did he doing this? Thought Sasuke. As if when the attack were done, there was almost a large part of the area they were fighting in was destroyed. Orochimaru was now panting, as Naruto had successfully went ahead and actually shocked the snake. He couldn't believe his eyes. Such power. And there's only one thing for sure, he thought. This was a Genkai. This had to be. He needed it. At first his objective here was to come for the Uchiha, but now Uzumaki was definitely on the table for sure. That power of his, the abilities, he needed it. So, Naruto was now actually inside his mindscape, smiling. Naruto would think. As he goes ahead, it now has successfully tricked Orochimaru. Now, flashback. When Naruto went ahead and used his Mochi Gatling, his attack, although it was meant to harm Orochimaru, the main purpose of it, though, was trying to distract him. When he went ahead and did the awakening, which was the, I think it was called Nagiri Mochi, or the flowing mochi, he went ahead and moved some of it to the area where Orochimaru is currently stepping on. As Naruto had now successfully trapped in Orochimaru, and now Orochimaru was about to see what Naruto could do at full power. Now at this, Naruto will go ahead and begin to manipulate the mochi, as Orochimaru will be actually wondering, I can't move. He goes ahead and tries to move his legs, only to realize that he was in the mochi. Naruto will go ahead and begin to control the mochi as it began to latch onto Orochimaru, trapping him. What? Said Orochimaru, couldn't believe his eyes, as Naruto goes ahead and takes out the spear. As Naruto began to go ahead and wrap around, he began to go ahead and use his arm as he begins to wrap around it, the spear, using his Mochi arm. As this was, he called it Mochi Thrust. Suki. I don't know how to say the real name. I don't know how to say like the actual name of it, considering the fact that I just don't know. I apologize. But really, practically, he goes ahead and wraps his Mochi hand around his spear as it begins to rotate like a drill. And practically, when he stabs into his opponent, it can be like a drilling stab. So yeah, he practically just turned that spear into a drill, and it's now like spinning violently. Orochimaru's eyes widen as he looks at this. No, Orochimaru didn't think. As Naruto goes ahead, rushes as he plunges it into his heart. As Orochimaru's blood would go ahead and envelop the entire area, soaking in the Mochi. Ah, Orochimaru would say, as he now had a hole in his heart. Naruto would go ahead and stop the spinning as it was finally done. As he goes ahead and rips out his spear that was now soaked in blood of Orochimaru. Naruto would look at it and think that it was done until his observation haki would then kick in, causing him to jump off, jumping away, as Orochimaru's, hand would go ahead and get out of his mouth, as he did a body substitution. Naruto would think. As Orochimaru was now panting, I gotta get away from him. However, once again, Mochi began to, surround him, as he actually slithers away to dodge it. I need this. I need the power, he would then say, as he goes ahead and slithers up and tries to bite Naruto on the neck. Naruto, already seeing it coming, would actually allow it, considering the fact he has an idea. Orochimaru will bite down, using everything that he's got here, and says, yes! However, when he bites down, he could then feel something is off. What's going on? Orochimaru would, retract his neck, and he realized that he can't really bite anymore. He tries to find out what the heck was going on. It was chewy. Now, as he didn't realize it, whatever this thing is, he actually had Mochi in his mouth. As he was going ahead, as he actually didn't bite down on Naruto. Naruto, now seeing Orochimaru distracted, would then use the Kaku Mochi, or square Mochi. Where he makes his arm into a square, and it practically makes his fist, his attacks, stronger. He wraps it around his arm in haki as he dashes off of Orochimaru. Orochimaru, looking at the attack, would then be slammed on it, as his eyes would roll back into his head. Naruto began to beat down on Orochimaru, as he then thinks that this was probably the biggest disadvantage that Orochimaru had. Orochimaru was currently in his turf, his world, and right now, he was losing. Orochimaru continued getting beaten down by Naruto as he tries to slither away, but Naruto would just use the, Nagiri Mochi or actually Kagami Mochi or concentrated Mochi, where he goes ahead and moves the Nagiri Mochi or just Mochi in general to go ahead and trap Orochimaru. As Orochimaru then thinks, I was a fool for this one. Kabuto didn't warn me about him or his abilities. Kabuto, I swear when I'm alive, if I get out of this, I swear I'm gonna. However, his thoughts were interrupted as he had to dodge a flaming fist. What? Said Orochimaru, as Naruto had just used the Yaki Mochi, or grilled Mochi. Literally, it's practically just a rocket punch, as he goes ahead and shoots a haki fist that was made out of Mochi, and due to the fact that it was, it had haki on it, it will go ahead and cause friction, enveloping it in flames, and practically it was like if you guys have watched One Piece, it was like Luffy's Red Hawk, except much more better. As Orochimaru was now gritting his teeth, no, I won't allow it, he thought. He needed to get out of here. Screw Sasuke right now. If he didn't leave now, he would die. Naruto had become more powerful, and in fact, the information he even had about the blonde was all wrong. As Naruto would then see, as Orochimaru would go ahead and try to get away, he began to slither out of the Mochi and began to, try to get to the trees, but Naruto did not let him. Muzo donuts, he would then say, As suddenly, from the ground, the mochis would then, shoot out as it began to circle around like a donut. Orochimaru and everyone was looking at this in shock as suddenly two big arms would then appear. Naruto would look up to see Orochimaru as he was looking down at Naruto with fearful eyes. At this, Naruto would go ahead, pull back his fist as he then extends it into a punch, as one of the fists would go ahead and rush up at Orochimaru, shocking the man. No! As they began to destroy the trees around them. Now, this was terrifying for Orochimaru. On one hand, he thought this was gonna be simple, but this is not what he had signed up for. Naruto would then say the name of this move, Chakara Mochi. He would then say, or you guys can call it Power Mochi, English version, but still. As he goes ahead and begins to send more of the ginormous Mochi fist after Orochimaru, as he goes ahead and grits his teeth. I'll get you. I'll make sure they get him. I'll make sure of it, he thought, as he was able to slither away. At this point, Naruto was looking at it. He was actually panting a little bit. He was actually panting a lot. This took up a lot of his concentration, a lot of planning, and most of the time actually luck. If Orochimaru was truly going all out, Naruto knew for sure that he would lose. Even though he was fairly powerful right now, he was not at that level yet. So if I were to say anything, Naruto was not at Katakuri's level. I mean, shoot, he was fighting Orochimaru and almost literally instantly, the only way he was even able to freaking win against him was literally using the awakening. So, yeah. As Naruto would be panting, he would go, the Mochi would just, return back, or actually no, it would just be there. As he goes ahead and looks up to see Sasuke and Sakura, as they were now in awe. Sasuke would have been watching the fight as he had multiple thoughts running in his mind. How is he so strong? He saw all those techniques, everything with his Sharingan, and he couldn't copy not one of them. Not one. He thought for sure this would at least do something, but it didn't. Just what the heck is he? Thought Sasuke. He thought that Naruto may have been some sort of monster or something. As for Sakura, she couldn't believe it. Naruto, the same one. This was the same Naruto that was back in the academy. This was the same Naruto that she used to bully. This was no longer that Naruto. This was a new one. This one was so powerful, they actually scared off and beat Orochimaru. I can't believe it, thought Sakura. She finally kneels down and she has a sigh of relief. She then cheers. Way to go, Naruto! At this, Naruto would look at her oddly as he thinks, is she talking to me? Nope. Naruto would go ahead and begin to walk off as he once again used his chakra to his feet, bouncing up in the air, as he had successfully disposed or gotten rid of Orochimaru for the time being. However, he failed in this main objective, as he then thinks, I have to inform the Hokage about this. First was this Kabuto, then Orochimaru. I gotta make sure of it. So with that, Naruto would tell them that it was time to go, which they do so. As luckily, since they didn't give the scrolls to Orochimaru, everything was a-okay. And since, Sasuke doesn't have the curse mark, he was still able to go. So, yeah, Team Time was doing good. With Orochimaru, he was slithering away at fast speeds. That boy. He would remember the fight against Naruto, as he remembered everything that the blonde did. All the way down to him using the Shikara Mochi, or the Power Mochi, where he goes ahead and makes the two giant armament hockey enhanced arms that were made out of Mochi. And he remembered how he was able to manipulate them to punch his opponents, and pretty much just went ahead and demolished Orochimaru. So, as Orochimaru was now slithering away, he would then encounter Anko, and practically the whole ordeal with them happens, with Orochimaru getting away, and Anko getting pissed. Damn him. Damn you, Orochimaru, she would think. As Naruto will go ahead, as Anko will go ahead and sigh with Team 7. They were now currently taking a break. They had found, luckily, a nearby area to rest, the same area where Sakura got attacked. Sasuke was currently, just there. All of them was just washing up. Luckily for them, there was a nearby lake as well, so they went ahead and got ready. While Naruto was just in the tree, in the little fort that was there, currently resting. Using almost all his abilities, he had to admit, he did a lot better than he expected against Orochimaru. Naruto had two objectives. One was to either neutralize Orochimaru, or two was to, get him away. And Naruto did that. When he knew that if he actually continued fighting Orochimaru, if that fight were to continue on, he would surely lose. Even though this area was his home, he can't go ahead and turn the trees into mochi, considering the fact that it has to be inorganic, so he can't really do that. So Naruto had to admit this was the definition of, this was he sort of actually went to his limit today. Today was his limit. He actually went all out in a fight. As he was right now panting, he goes ahead and finally calms down and waits until Sasuke and Sakura come back, as they had actually needed to get water, considering the fact that they had some blood on them. With this, Sasuke would then speak up. Alright, are all us good to go? At this, they would nod, and Sasuke then offers the idea that they should camp here. However, Naruto would actually interfere on this. It's better that we go. And we go ahead and stay here any longer, more teams begin to appear. At this, Sasuke wanted to protest, but after seeing what Naruto did, he had nothing to complain about. Sakura would actually nod, and she's like, yeah, I agree. At this, Sasuke would actually look at her, and as Naruto would also look at her. She agrees with Naruto, with me, both of them would think. As Naruto was actually in complete shock. He didn't show it on his face, but still. Sakura was always on either Sasuke's sides, or it was always Sasuke, but this, he never expected this. As Sakura will go ahead and, have a determined look on her face, and she then says, yep, let's go. Naruto would then, go ahead and just nod, as he gets up as well, including Sasuke, as they were now about to leave until suddenly they would hear ruffling in the bushes. Now seeing this, they would then turn to see 3 sound ninja appear. This will be, the sound ninja that appear, Zaku and his goons. Well, yeah. Along with him will be Kin and the guy was father, okay? So I'm just gonna call him arm air pump guy. Sorry, but yeah. If you are not irrelevant to the story, I'm sorry, but no. Now, in a far distance away, well, actually not a pretty far distance, but at a good distance away, we see, Team 10, which is, Choji, Shikamaru, and Ino, as they were all watching this. They actually were now, looking at this, as they saw the sound ninja appear, as they couldn't believe their eyes. What do we do? All of them were thinking. As Ino would just watch, what was going to happen. Now back to Team 7. They're going ahead and looking, as the men would go ahead and then chuckle. You're Sasuke Uchiha? At this, Sasuke would just nod as he then says, good. Then, well, our master went ahead and told us to go after you. At this, Sasuke would then, go ahead and rev up his Sharingan. Oh yeah, and who's your master? That's for us to know and for you to find out, Sasuke, says Zaku. Naruto, not having time for this, would just go ahead and flick his Conqueror's Haki. Now, Zaku and Kin and air pump guy, whatever, all of them would begin to fall to their knees, that was intense. Now Naruto didn't go all out with his Conqueror's Haki, but still, it was enough to make them fall into their knees. Sasuke and Sakura are also on their knees as well, as Naruto then thinks, they should really be far away from me sometimes. If I actually were to go all out, they may have gone ahead and fell unconscious. As Zaku was now hyperventilating. What was that? He goes ahead and looks frantically, and only to see Naruto still there, arms crossed, looking down at him. No. Who is he? I don't remember him in the reports. At this, Zaku actually then remembered back in the classroom when they were going ahead and doing the written exams. He remembers when a certain someone exerted that same amount of pressure again, and nearly made the entire class pass out. He was one of the few people that actually stayed awake, as he was now remembering. Oh, it's him. What did he do? At this, Zaku now began to actually fear. However, he once again stood his ground, having a little bit of pride left in him and confidence. That won't drive us away, he would say. With this, Naruto would just nod his head as he goes ahead and takes out his spear. He pointed directly at Zaku, who's actually now looking at him in fear, as he then speaks. I'm sorry, but if you go ahead and challenge me, I will not hesitate. You will die. And I can obviously tell that you're currently not on my level. At this, Zaku was actually surprised as he went ahead and, was not budging as Naruto goes ahead and adds a little bit of killing intent, reinforcing it. I said, you are not on your level. You are not on my level. Now at this point, Zaku was actually quaking in fear. He goes ahead and reaches in his pouch, only to reveal the scroll as he tosses it to Naruto. Naruto goes ahead and catches it as Zaku goes ahead and shakes. There you go. Just let us live. At this, Naruto will go ahead, retract his spear as he nods, with the members just leaving. Once again, Team 7 is just in shock of Naruto's power, as they're really just thinking, just why the heck has, shoot, shouldn't this man even be in the tuning exams now? This man should have just been leave the very moment that the exams began. He was this strong just to scare off these Genin like they were nothing. What else could he do? I mean, shoot, he went up against Orochimaru. Now, for Team 10, they were, looking at this in shock. Naruto didn't even do anything at all. They still felt that pressure, which, yeah, they also fell on their knees as well. As they were all just looking at Naruto and they think, this guy is just, what the heck is he? All of them think. Now Naruto will go ahead and then turn. Sorry guys. Okay, good, my throat is back to normal. Now, Naruto will go ahead and turn to the rest of the members of Team 7. Sakura, Sasuke, let's go. At this, they would just nod slowly as Sakura would then say, nice work, Naruto-kun. Now this is where Sasuke and Naruto both look at her. Well, actually, no, Naruto, he just, gets a glance. And he thinks, Kun? Oh my god. Now, Sakura had actually began to get really grateful towards Naruto. And after what he did for her back when, the Orochimaru incident, she decided that she was going to be a lot nicer to Naruto. No, she didn't have a crush on him, so y'all can settle down. But she was okay with him. So, yeah. Now, with that being said, Team 7 would then make their way, and eventually they would have made their way back, to the tower. Now, as soon as they get there, they see the riddle, and Naruto had already come to the conclusion, but Sasuke was the first one to speak up about it, as they both unopened their scrolls to reveal a smoke to appear. As when it happens, eventually they see Iruka and Kakashi had both appear, as they congratulate them. Now, Iruka and Kakashi will actually look at Naruto as they see that Naruto look completely okay. There was not even a scratch on him. And they think, what the heck? However, Kakashi was actually the one who actually caught a certain detail though. Naruto, although he had not a scratch on him, he was sweating a lot. As Naruto had already caught his breath, and in fact, heck, he can run for a long time, but that fight with the Orochimaru, that actually did take a lot out of him. Shoot, he went all out. So, yeah. Naruto was actually, panting a little bit, but still, he was okay. So after this moment, Naruto would actually speak up. Actually, before you guys go ahead and before you actually start anything, I need to speak with the Hokage. At this, Kakashi actually looks at Naruto and then asks why. Naruto would then say, a certain snake has infiltrated. Kakashi's eyes widen, as well as Iruka, as they already know what that meant. As Kakashi would nod, escorting Naruto to the Hokage, while Sasuke and Sakura will go to get healed. Now, we go ahead and do a change of scene. Now, we now see a couple of Jonins now there, as Uncle Mitarashi was one of them. She was currently just, panting and everything. Well, actually not panting, but she was, holding her neck, considering the fact that she was, sort of sore, considering the fact that she had to follow Orochimaru only for a little bit, though. Until eventually, finally, Kakashi and Naruto had, arrived. Ah, Kakashi. Naruto? What's the point of having, you here? Don't get me wrong, I'm happy to see you. At this, Naruto would nod, as he goes ahead and speaks up. Lord Hokage, Naruto would say. As Hiruzen, had to get used to this formality that Naruto had created, but still. I'd like to inform you that I have been seeing the presence of Orochimaru. At this, all the Jonins in the room would go wide-eyed, as Hiruzen would say, speak. Naruto would nod, as he began to go through the events that transpired. However, when it came to the fight against Orochimaru, all he said was that he fought him. At this, all the Jonin would look at Naruto in shock, as they go ahead and, some of them didn't believe him, thinking that he was just lying. However, Uncle Mitarashi would actually explain that she actually met with Orochimaru, and he looked pale, even more pale than he usually is. This in turn causes some of the Jonin to, think about it, but they were still not 100% sure. How about this, Naruto-kun? Why don't you go ahead and place your hand on this? At this, you'll go ahead and take out the crystal ball, as Naruto would actually look at it. May I ask what it does, Lord Hokage? At this, Hiruzen would nod as he begins to explain that you're able to transfer chakra into it to go ahead and see his memories. At this, Naruto would nod as he goes ahead and shows the memory of the experience. Again, sorry for my throat. Okay, sorry if you guys hear some stuff in the mic and everything. I am trying my best. So yeah. So they began to see all the memories, yes, including Naruto versus Orochimaru, and to say they were shocked was an understatement. Even Kakashi had his eyes bulging. My guy, Kurenai, and Asuma were also wide-eyed at what they saw. Hiruzen couldn't look like he was. Hiruzen got pale and even dropped the pipe that was in his mouth. Now after it ended, Naruto wouldn't think, well, so much for my disguise, Naruto thought. As Hiruzen wouldn't look at this, Naruto, you could do that? Naruto would just nod. As they did not see Naruto, they did not see all of Naruto's memory and everything, but they saw the moment, so yeah. As suddenly, this when Hiruzen would actually speak up again. Well, was that Kekkei Genkai? Asked Hiruzen. Naruto was unsure how to answer this. On one hand, it didn't seem like a Kekkei Genkai. It didn't feel like it. Because if it was, it required chakra, but it didn't for him. It didn't require not one bit of chakra. So, no. Naruto would shake his head as he didn't ask, then what is it? At this, Naruto realized that a bunch of the Jonins and everyone was looking at him. As Naruto then says, if I may intrude, I'm sorry, but I cannot describe it. At least not now. If you would give me time. At this, Hiruzen would go ahead and nod, not wanting to, waste Naruto's time, telling him that he was okay. However, he would then ask Naruto, are you 100% okay though? At this, Naruto would nod as he explains that he actually went all out against his fight with Orochimaru, and this again causes all the Jonin to just look at him surprised. So that was him going all out, huh? Yikes. That was all they thought. Considering the fact that if that was all out, this man was already Jonin level then. Considering the fact that he was able to literally he was actually able to scare off Orochimaru, or at least to some of them, that's what it seemed like. But if he was able to scare off Orochimaru, then he can surely beat some Jonins. Some of them can't even scratch. Some people can't even scratch the guy, or like literally some people get like just can't even look at the guy. So the fact that this kid was able to face him off, yeah, Naruto was definitely already Jonin level. All right. Well then, Naruto, you can go. At this, Naruto will nod as he goes ahead and leaves. As right now, a bunch of the Jonins were now leaving, considering the fact that their team did not make it, which sucks for them. However, Kakashi, Kurenai, and Asuma would all stay as they then, Kurenai wouldn't turn to Kakashi. Kakashi, what have you been teaching him? At this, Kakashi would actually look at them as he then says, I actually have not taught him anything. How? Actually, I don't think I have taught him, period. Kakashi tried to remember at least one day that he had tried to teach, had taught Naruto something, only to realize that he really didn't. That was just all of Naruto's skills on his own. So you tell me that he created all that stuff on his own? And what do you... At this, they just had to accept the fact that Naruto was odd and that he was strong. That's the only thing that they could do. It's not as if they can go ahead and just, ask him directly, considering the fact that even he didn't know how to 100% explain it, or more or less, he just didn't want to tell it in front of so many Jonins. His abilities still need to be kept secret. Like, bro, he has to have secrets. So eventually, Naruto would have made it back, only to see Sakura was fine and Sasuke was okay too, as eventually all the teams would then come by. Gaara's team would have been first, Neji's team would have actually been third, considering the fact that Team 7 got there earlier than in canon, which surprised Neji. He went ahead and obviously turned to, Sasuke, believing that it was him. And practically Sasuke, just looking at Neji and looking at him, would just look back with a glare, as both of them would have this sort of little, spark thing going on. Sakura then chuckled and says, yeah. So, Naruto-kun, she would ask, with Naruto just turning to her. Yes. Haruno. At this, Sakura just actually, looks down, and she then speaks. I want to apologize. Now, this was a first. Sakura apologizing? Well, that's weird. It's a thought. As he goes ahead and listens in. I know that before I was mean to you, I always hate you, and I just did it to boost my own self-esteem, but I do hope that maybe we could become friends, she would ask with a true sincere smile. Naruto would look at her directly, as if looking into her very soul, trying to find out if she was lying to him. Naruto continued looking and looking, but to his surprise, these words were 100% true. She wanted to become his friend. This, Naruto would go ahead and nod, as he then says, sure, Sakura. At this, Sakura then smile, as she then thanks Naruto, and as well, she also thanks him for saving her life, which Naruto just goes ahead and just says, it's nothing. After the moment, however, this is when all the teams would then arrive, as it was finally time for the next part of the exams. The preliminaries. Now, when the preliminaries arrived, all the teams were there as Hiruzen began to announce all the rules and everything. Now, when the rules were done, the matches would then begin, the same as canon. However, when he asked if anyone wanted to leave, Kabuto was the first to speak up. Well, looks like it's time for me to, go. Sorry, but I quit. At this, all of them would turn to him, as he then says, I'm out of chakra, and I don't really have enough power to continue on. However, Hiruzen, Ibiki, and the uncle would all narrow his eyes, considering the fact that they had gotten Naruto's message across, so they obviously knew that he was lying straight to their faces. At this, Hiruzen would just nod his head as he then yells, Anbu. At this, Kabuto's eyes would widen, and suddenly a bunch of Anbu would then appear and restrain him. Take him now. Ibiki, I leave it up to you. At this, Ibiki would nod as he body flickers away, shocking all the getting there as they wonder why the heck did Kabuto just get arrested, or what it seemed to be arrested. Naruto, however, then thinks, thank God, if he went to Orochimaru. To be honest, it actually didn't matter whether they kidnapped him or not. After that performance, I know Orochimaru was considering killing him on the spot. Which was true. Orochimaru was actually just waiting to kill Kabuto now, because He had lied to him about the report of the Uzumaki, and he needed to pay. If he didn't, because if he was not strong enough, like if he did not, was luckily able to adapt, he could have been killed. So technically, yeah, Kabuto really got lucky. And this Hiruzen would begin to announce the matches. First was Sasuke versus that guy, the chakra sucker. As he goes ahead and tries to, use it on Sasuke. However, this time, since he doesn't have the curse mark, he's able to use the Sharingan. And after the moment with the Orochimaru, he was able to go ahead and awaken the two Tomoe Sharingan in both eyes. Now, as soon as he did that, he was able to read the movement and actually got in faster and stronger as he pulverized the man. And pretty much after that match, Sasuke got a win. Alright, so the next matches would, continue on as usual. Tamari versus Tenten. Tamari would win. Pretty much all the matches, I really don't remember them, considering the fact that most of them were just unimportant. Now, Sakura versus Ino will go. Saying boring fights. In fact, people were actually calling it a disgrace of a match. However, the weird thing about it, though, was the fact that they were not complaining about Sasuke or anything. Ino was definitely not complaining about Sasuke, and Sakura was actually not even complaining about him either. Considering the fact that after that moment, Sakura sort of got hit with the reality and realized that, well, Sasuke is, I guess cool and everything and stuff like that. This is the life of shinobi, and she can't really act like that. So when she got a draw, she was embarrassed, but she promised herself that she was gonna work harder, and that she was actually gonna make sure that Team 7 was good. She was not gonna be useless. Also, she made a good on that promise, saying that she will become Naruto's friend and actually go ahead and work on trying to, really get to know the guy. No, once again, just saying this. No, she will not date Naruto. Okay? Jeez. Finally, it was time for the match of Kiba versus Naruto. At this, Kiba would chuckle. Huh. Alright, Orochimaru. Looks like we got a lucky match. At this, Orochimaru would just bark, and they will both jump down. At this, Kakashi would then turn to Kurenai. She then says, his funeral? Yup. Both of them already knew this was gonna be a slaughter. I'm sorry, but Kiba loses. Alright. Are you guys ready? He would say as Naruto had already made his way down. A bunch of people were looking at this in anticipation. Gaara as well, as he looks at him and thinks, show me your power. Uzumaki, Naruto. He would think. So now Tamari and Kankuro will actually both be, looking at this fight with interest, considering the fact that Gaara seemed very interested in it. Sakura, who already knew that Naruto-kun was gonna win, was actually smiling. Well, I feel bad for Kiba, she thought. Now Sasuke, since he didn't have to go to the, seal, he was also watching this fight. As he already knew, he's like, oh, Dog Boy's gonna lose. Pretty much most of the Rookie 9, or at least like most of the people that knew Naruto already knew that Kiba was gonna lose. It was no match. Naruto was able to keep up with the Orochimaru, able to go literally was known as one of the strongest. In fact, he was the strongest. All of them already knew that Naruto was the strongest, the top one. So no way Kiba was even touching this man. Get ready to lose, Naruto. At this, when the party began the match, Kiba would then say, as he then says, don't worry, I'll finish this off with one punch. Naruto would look at Kiba and then say, Kiba, I hate to inform you of this, but I do not see you as a challenge. So I will go ahead and give you a chance. Naruto will go ahead, still have his arms crossed, as he then says, hurry up and forfeit the match. At this, right now, Kurenai was praying that Kiba went ahead and accepted it. Because if he didn't, he was going to lose. Kiba would then laugh. Ha! You just wanted me to forfeit, that way you can get an easy win, right? Yeah, you're probably scared to fight me. At this, Naruto would then say, Kiba, one last more warning. He would then laugh. Make me. At this, Naruto would nod, as he then activates his Conqueror's Haki, as he shoots out through the entire room, as all the Jonins who actually did not even know about it go wide-eyed, including Hiruzen. Ibiki told me about this, but what is this? As Kiba would then be knocked out unconscious. As luckily for the other people that were far away, they were knocked out unconscious because Naruto, hold back for them. But Kiba, he made it enough to the point where he can knock out Kiba. As Orochimaru and Kiba will both be on the ground, Naruto goes ahead and tells the practice that the match is over. Hi, the winner of the match, Naruto Uzumaki. At this, everyone goes wide-eyed. Nechi goes wide-eyed as well. What? How? He didn't even touch him. He activated his Byakugan to find out, as he actually felt pretty weak at the moment. And it wasn't even with his chakra. No, he just felt weak in general. What was that power? At this, literally, Ino was just cheering. Well, Ino and Sakura were cheering for Naruto. Sasuke just had a smirk on his face as he looks at Kiba. Idiot, he thought, looking at Kiba. As now that the matches were over, all the other matches would begin. As Naruto actually beat the record of fastest match. That was even faster than Temari versus Tenten, which was just a slaughter. Now, after that match, there was of course Gaara versus Rock Lee, and Naruto had to admit this fight was impressive. In fact, he would have to say that if anyone were to actually even give him a proper, even a challenge, it would have to be Gaara and Rock Lee. Both of them were powerful fighters, and he had to admit, seeing those two fight, riled him up. So Naruto had to admit those two were good. So after that match, it was finally time for the 1 month training. At this, Naruto would just nod his head, and practically everyone else would go. However, as soon as he was about to go, he would then be bombarded by Ino, who was actually hugging Naruto, which he doesn't really know how to feel about it. Way to go, Naruto-kun, she would say. As Naruto was not very used to the attention, but he would just nod and then pat Ino on the head. He really did not know what to do. And now, for some weird reason, when Ino felt that pat on the head, she felt odd. As she felt like Naruto was like a big brother right now, as if she had a big brother right now, just petting her on the head. And she blushes fiercely as she goes ahead and bumps off Naruto, begins walking away with the crimson blush on her face. Weird, thought Naruto. At this, Naruto would then go off, as it was finally time of the beginning of the 1 month training. So, I hope you guys do enjoy this video. I personally enjoyed it. I recorded all this on my bed. Yeah. So I hope you guys do enjoy everything that I do, enjoy the work, and enjoy the grind. And either way, it is Great Zage, and I am out. Peace.